If you found yourself here watching this video, it's probably because you work in the D2C space in some way. Whether you sell a product or a service or experience, the point is that you put something out into the world that you believe in. But the problem is getting other people to believe in it enough to buy it. If you're anything like most companies that I work with, somewhere between months 6 and 12, things started to feel a little bit off. The ads that used to work stopped working, so you tested new creative. Maybe you're unhappy with the agency you were working with or your media buyer, so you went out and found a new one. And for a while, it's helped. But if you're here, it's probably because none of those underlying trends that you were seeing reversed. Your cost to acquire a new customer kept climbing, and you were seeing less and less repeat customers. Every month, it feels like you're starting from zero, spending the same money to find the same customers, and nothing from last month is carrying forward. And the exhausting part isn't the work. You love the work. It's why you're doing this in the first place. But the exhausting part is that the work doesn't seem to be adding up. You're putting in the same or maybe even more effort just to see the same results that you launched with. So you go looking for answers, a new funnel strategy, a new offer structure, a new content format. You implement it, it moves the needle slightly, but then after a short amount of time, things go back to the way they were. You're getting relatively the same amount of new customers falling in and out of your funnel, but the problem is that cost is starting to weigh heavier. And so here's what nobody's actually saying to you. It's not your funnel, it's not your creative, it's not the targeting. Those things do matter, but they're built on top of something that either holds the weight or it doesn't. And that foundation is your brand, the thing that makes all of your effort compound and build true momentum. And that's what I want to talk to you about, because I've seen what happens when you get it right, and I've seen what happens when you get it wrong. My name is Jordan Green. I'm a brand strategist based in the Nashville, Tennessee area, and I built my Brand Flywheel framework based on real experience, not just theory. After leading in corporate America for over a decade, I started Walton Brand Company in 2022. Since then, I've helped take products across multiple categories to market. I've helped established brands enter their next stage of growth, and I've been studying why some brands compound momentum and others don't. Now, what I teach is not about developing a better product. You already have that. It's not about finding product market fit or making sure that what you offer is actually a need in your space. The Brand Flywheel I developed is about making sure that your effort generates momentum for whatever it is that you offer. See, that's what most businesses skip, even though they don't do it intentionally. The default path is product first, store second, ads third, brand never, which leads to you being on the treadmill that I just described. And the reality is that leaves you exhausted and watching your customers choose your competitors over what you have to offer. So, what does building in the right order look like? I call it the Brand Flywheel. Now, the theory of a flywheel in business is not unique, but the framework I've built that looks at your brand holistically is 5 stages in sequence, moving in one direction cohesively. The reason it's a flywheel and not a funnel is simple, because a funnel ends and a flywheel builds compounding momentum. Each stage feeds the next, and eventually the whole thing begins to generate momentum on its own. Your effort is compounded and maximized over time. So the 5 stages are create, trust, demand, revenue, and repeat. Create is the decision. Who are you for? What do you stand for? And why should someone choose you, even if they could buy cheaper somewhere else? This is about what makes you unique, the differentiator in what you offer versus your competitors. The second stage is trust. This is the 6-second problem. In your company's infancy stage, meaning in the first couple of years, for the most part, your first impression is almost always on a phone. And so you have 6 seconds to impress someone. Either something clicks or something doesn't. Now, the gap between create and trust is one of the most difficult ones to find momentum in. And if you don't find momentum in that area, then the third spoke almost never happens. The third spoke is demand. This is the shift from rented to owned. That's the difference between customers you have to buy and the customers that come looking for you. This is about making sure that paid media isn't the one-legged stool that your business is standing on. Now, the 4th stage is revenue, and this is where brand investment actually starts to show up in your numbers. As a founder, this is where you can start to tell whether or not momentum is actually building with the effort that you're putting toward growing your business. And how I like to think about revenue is less about more for more's sake and more about margin to decide, do we need to implement something new into our current offerings, or do we need to go out and find something else to offer our audience that is going to give us another level of authority in whatever it is that we do. When we talk about revenue, it's not just about what do those top line numbers look like. It's about, do we know our audience well enough to think about what's next? And then finally, repeat, which is about a sense of belonging for your customers. Not loyalty programs, not discount codes, but the thing that actually makes someone feel like the brand is theirs. Like becoming a customer almost makes them feel like an investor because they believe in your product so much and they see the value that it's added to their life. See, when you get to the repeat stage consistently, create, trust, and demand all start happening for you. And that's where compounding momentum can take your business to new levels that you never thought possible. But here's what makes this difficult. One broken stage can break the whole thing. Most brands have a weak link, they just don't know what it is. That's the problem, and that's exactly what I want to help you solve. So I built a free tool called The Read. It's a two-sided brand audit that looks at your business both from the inside out and the outside in. What you get back is 2 scores and the gap in between them, and this is what I call your brand gap. That gap is the most important number in your business right now. It tells you where your brand is strongest, it tells you where your brand is weakest, and it tells you exactly the next step for you to focus on. It's free, the link is in the description below. I'd recommend you take it before you watch any of these other videos because understanding how the flywheel looks in your business is going to make the rest of this make a lot more sense. Now, over the next 5 videos, I'm going to break down every stage of the brand flywheel. We're going to start with create, which is the stage that most brands either skip through or miss entirely. And it's the one that determines whether everything else you build is on a strong foundation or not. If that's useful to you, subscribe. I'm putting out one of these every week for the next few weeks. And if you know a founder who is on the treadmill like I described at the beginning of the video, send this to them as well. I'll see you in the next one.